The year is 1390. It is late summer, and the tide is carrying you up the river toward the city. Settle in. Dim the lights if you can. For the next hour, let me take you inside a single afternoon in medieval London, the London of Chaucer, of merchants and pilgrims, of bells across 100 steeples. You will arrive by boat. You will walk the crooked lanes. You will cross the greatest bridge in the world and end the day by firelight in an inn in Southwark. None of this will be hurried. This is your day. It has already begun. The tide is with you. You have been on this boat since first light, watching the Thames grow wider with every bend. At Gravesend, the river was one thing: marshes, reed beds, a heron lifting from the bank. Now, as the afternoon sun climbs toward its full height, the river is something else entirely. It is a road. There are boats on every side of you. Fat-bellied cogs from Flanders, their sails furled, being rowed upriver by men with red faces and burnt shoulders. Wherries darting across the current like water beetles, each carrying 2 or 3 passengers huddled low. The barges heaped with firewood, with stone, with barrels bound in iron. A raft of timber, so long it takes 3 men to steer it. You are a cloth merchant. You have sold wool in Bristol since you were 16. You have seen the quays at Bristol crowded on a feast day. You thought you knew what a busy river looked like. You did not. The boatman who brought you from Gravesend is a thin man with hands like old leather. He has said very little all morning. Now he points ahead with his chin and says, "There. That is the city." You look. At first you see only smoke. A long, low smudge along the horizon, dun-colored, rising into the pale summer sky. Then, slowly, the smoke resolves into shapes. A forest of spires. More church towers than you have ever seen in one place. And rising behind them, impossibly tall, the spire of St. Paul's, a needle of stone piercing the summer haze. Your mouth opens a little. You do not close it. The boatman smiles for the first time. "Everyone does that," he says. The first time. You sit back on the rough plank seat. You can feel the sun on your face. You can smell the river, silt and fish, and something sharper beneath it, something you do not yet have a word for. You will learn the word by evening. For now, you watch London come towards you across the water. But first, welcome to softer worlds, a place where history slows down, where the noise of the present fades, and where we take you somewhere quieter, somewhere older, somewhere you've never been, a but that somehow feels like home. You hear the bridge before you see it properly. It is a sound you cannot place at first. A low roaring, like wind through a great forest, but steadier. The boatman sees you listening. "The starlings," he says. The piers. The water breaks against them. And then you see it. London Bridge. You have been told about London Bridge. Every traveler who has come back to Bristol has tried to describe it, and every one of them has failed. Now you understand why. It is not a bridge. It is a street built over water. Houses. Dozens of them. 4 stories tall, leaning over the river, their upper floors jutting out so far they almost touch above the roadway. Shops with their shutters down for the day's trade. A chapel in the middle, dedicated to St. Thomas of Canterbury, its stained glass catching the light. The 20 piers, each one built on a great boat-shaped starling of elm and stone, and between them the water boils white and angry. Only a fool tries to shoot the bridge, the boatman says. He turns the wherry sharply left toward the southern bank. Only a fool or a drunk. You nod. You do not take your eyes off the bridge. On the northern end, above the gatehouse, you see something dark mounted on a pike. Then another beside it. Then a row of them. You understand, slowly, that they are the heads of traitors, left there as warning. You look away. You look back. You look away again. Nobody else on the boat is looking. They have seen it before. The wherry bumps against the wooden stairs at Botolph's Wharf. The boatman holds out his hand for the fare. 2 pence. You pay him. He says, "Welcome to London." And he is already looking past you at the next fare. You climb the stairs. Your legs are unsteady from the boat. The wood is slick with river mud. At the top of the stairs, you stop. You are in London. The wharf is chaos. Not angry chaos. Working chaos. The kind of chaos that has been happening every day in this same place for 300 years, and will happen again tomorrow. Porters with burdens strapped to their backs move in long, patient lines from the boats to the warehouses. Bales of wool so large the men beneath them look bent double. Wine casks rolling on iron rails. A crane turns slowly on its wooden frame, lifting a pallet of Spanish oil, and a man in a red cap shouts directions from the ground. Nobody notices you. This is the first strange thing about London. In Bristol, you would already have been greeted 3 times. The boy would have run up asking if you needed your bags carried. The woman selling pies would have called out to you. Here, you are invisible. There are simply too many people. You stand aside to let a cart pass. The ox pulling it is the size of a small house. The driver has a lit pipe clenched in his teeth. The cart is piled with herring barrels, and one of them is leaking slowly onto the cobbles. The smell hits you properly for the first time. It is not one smell. It is many smells layered so thickly that you cannot separate them. Fish. Wood smoke. Horse dung. The tannery stench from across the river at Southwark. Sharp and sweet at the same time, the smell of hides being turned into leather. The bread from a bakehouse on Thames Street. The river itself at low tide. Mud, weed, something faintly rotten. You adjust your pack on your shoulder. You have letters of introduction to a wool merchant on Cheapside. You have a small purse of silver. You have, in a leather roll at the bottom of your pack, 3 samples of the finest Cotswold cloth your master has ever woven. You take your first step into London. It is a step you will remember for the rest of your life. Thames Street runs along the river like a spine. It is narrower than you expected. In your mind, the great street of the great city would be grand, wide, paved in white stone. Instead, it is a crooked lane of packed earth and broken cobbles, barely wide enough for 2 carts to pass, with buildings pressing in on both sides. The buildings are taller than anything in Bristol. 3 stories. 4. Timber frames blackened by wood smoke, plaster panels painted in faded ochre and dusty red. Each upper floor juts out further than the one below it, so that at the top the houses almost meet above the street. The light comes down in narrow golden bars. You walk slowly. Everyone else walks fast. A boy runs past you shouting pies, hot pies, 3d for 2. A monk in grey robes passes without looking up, his hands folded into his sleeves. 2 women in bright kerchiefs stand in a doorway arguing with a man about the price of candles. A dog, thin and yellow, slips between legs and disappears down an alley. You hear a language you do not know. Then another. Then another. Flemish. Italian, perhaps, sung rather than spoken. French, of course, the French of the court, spoken by a man in a fur-trimmed cloak who looks straight through you. And English, many kinds of English. The clipped, sharp English of London apprentices, the slow-rolling English of a Yorkshire drover, the Welsh lilt of a servant girl calling to her mistress. Bristol has all the languages of the West. London has all the languages of the world. You pass a fishmonger's stall where a woman is gutting eels with a small knife so fast your eyes cannot follow. You pass a cookshop where a whole row of chickens turn slowly on a spit, and a boy of perhaps 10 years stands turning the handle, his face red with the heat. You pass a doorway where an old man sits on a stool, doing nothing at all, just watching. He nods at you as you go by. You nod back. It is the first acknowledgement you have had since you left the boat. It is enough. You come up out of Thames Street by way of a lane called Courtyard, and the city opens. But Cheapside, it is wide. That is the first thing. After the crooked, narrow streets near the river, Cheapside feels like a field. You could drive 6 carts abreast down it. You could stage a tournament in it, and men have, within the memory of the merchants now watching their apprentices sweep the dust from their doorsteps. Down the center of Cheapside runs the great water conduit, a stone tower with a laid cistern, and women are queuing at its spouts with jugs on their heads. The water that comes out is clean, carried in pipes all the way from Tyburn 2 miles to the west. You watch a small girl lift a brass jug onto her head without using her hands. She walks away down the street as straight as a candle. The shops here are different. These are not the pie sellers and fishmongers of Thames Street. These are goldsmiths, mercers, drapers. The street of luxury. The windows, actual glazed windows, a thing you have seen only in churches before, glitter with silver cups, with bolts of silk dyed in colors you did not know existed, with spices weighed out on tiny brass scales. You smell pepper. You smell cinnamon. You smell cloves and mace, and a thing the merchant calls grain of paradise, which is a kind of pepper from Africa that costs more than its weight in silver. You have smelled cinnamon before. Once. At a feast in Bristol given by the mayor. Here it is being sold by the pound casually, as if it were oats. You find the sign you are looking for. A woolsack carved in oak, painted red, hanging above a door. Beneath it, in letters picked out in gold leaf, the name of your master's London correspondent. You stop. You smooth your cloak. You wipe the river mud from your boots as best you can on the edge of the step. You take a slow breath. You knock. The door is opened by a boy of perhaps 13, in a neat blue tunic, who looks at you without smiling. You give your name. You say you come from Bristol. You say you have letters. The boy nods. Step inside, he says. Wait in the hall. You step inside. The house is cool after the heat of the street. floor is of polished tile, red and black, laid in a pattern of interlocking diamonds. The walls are wood-paneled and painted with flowers and small birds, done in a style you do not know but which you will later learn is Flemish. A staircase of turned oak leads up into shadow. A tapestry hangs on the far wall. A hunting scene, stags among trees, sewn in wool so fine it catches the light like silk. This is the hall of a man richer than anyone you have ever met. Your master in Bristol is a wealthy man. He has a good house of 3 rooms and a shop and a servant. This man has an entrance hall larger than your master's entire home. You stand very still. You try not to touch anything. A cat walks across the tiles, a thick gray cat with yellow eyes, and sits down at your feet. It looks at you without expression. You look back. It blinks once slowly and walks away. There is a sound of boots on the staircase. A man comes down. He is in his 50s, broad across the shoulders, with a short gray beard and a scarlet gown trimmed in dark fur. He has the kind of face that has spent 30 years judging wool. You know that face. Your master has the same face. From Bristol, he says. It is not a question. Let me see the samples. You kneel on the tiled floor and open the leather roll. The 3 pieces of cloth unfold. The good russet, the mid-gray, and the pale, undyed broadcloth which your master believes is the finest he has ever made. The merchant kneels opposite you, though he is twice your age and rich enough never to kneel for anything. He takes the pale cloth between his thumb and forefinger. He rubs it. He rubs it. He holds it up to the light from the door. He smells it. He is silent for a long time. Then he looks at you and says, "Tell your master I will take all he can send." You step out of the house on Cheapside an hour later, and the bells begin to ring. Not one bell. Not 2. All of them. Every church in London, and there are more than 100, rings its bell for the hour of nuns. The sound comes from every direction at once. Deep bells and high bells, cracked bells and sweet bells, bells that ring a single clear note and bells that ring patterns. St. Paul's, far to the west, rings deepest of all, and the sound rolls down Cheapside like a wave. You stand on the step and listen. You do not move. You cannot. Nobody else stops. The women at the conduit keep drawing their water. The goldsmith across the street keeps weighing his silver. An apprentice sweeps the dust from his master's step without once looking up. To them, the bells are weather. To them, The bells are simply what 3 o'clock sounds like. To you, the bells are a kind of music you did not know existed. Slowly, the ringing fades. St. Paul's finishes last. The air feels thinner after. You can hear the city again, the creak of a cart, a man laughing somewhere, a hammer on metal from a lane behind you. You have sold your cloth. You have done what you came to do. The day is only half over. You have the rest of the afternoon before you must find an inn for the night. You decide to walk west toward St. Paul's because you want to see it up close. Because you cannot leave London without standing in its shadow. You turn west. You join the slow flow of people along Cheapside. You are no longer invisible. You have been recognized by London now. A merchant has shaken your hand. You belong, in a very small way, to the city. You walk taller than you did an hour ago. You see the spire from half a mile away. You have been seeing it all day, really, from the river, from the rooftops, a dark needle against the sky. But now as you walk up Cheapside and the ground rises, St. Paul's grows. And grows. And grows. Nothing has prepared you for this. You have seen Wells Cathedral. You have seen the Abbey at Glastonbury. You thought you knew what a great church looked like. St. Paul's is not a great church. St. Paul's is something else. The spire is the tallest thing ever built by any people anywhere in the world. You have been told this, and standing here now, you believe it. It rises nearly 500 feet from the pavement, a needle of stone and lead, its weathercock a golden speck against the pale sky. Your eyes water from looking up. You have to look down to breathe. The churchyard around it is not quiet. This surprises you. Churchyards in Bristol are places of silence. This one is a marketplace. Stationers with their stalls of quills and parchment. A bookseller with a chained copy of a Psalter open on a lectern, letting passers-by rate a page for a farthing. A man selling roasted chestnuts from a brazier. 2 lawyers in black gowns arguing in Latin while a clerk writes down what they say. You step through the great west door, and you are inside. The nave is so long you cannot see the far end clearly. The stone columns rise into a shadow that might be roof or might be heaven. The stained glass on the south side is set alight by the afternoon sun, and patches of red and blue and green lie on the flagstones like scattered jewels. The choir is rehearsing somewhere far away. You cannot see them. You can only hear them. Their voices rise and fall in patterns older than the cathedral itself. You find a pillar. You put your hand on the cold stone. You stand there for a long time. You do not pray. You do not need to. The cathedral is doing the praying for you. You come out of St. Paul's blinking. The afternoon light feels thin after the great colored dusk of the cathedral. A boy runs past with a kite made of waxed parchment on a string. The kite will not fly. He is trying anyway. You sit on the low wall of the churchyard. Your legs ache from walking. Your head aches from looking. Your purse is heavier than it was this morning. The mercer paid you half the price of the cloth in silver on the spot and will send the rest to Bristol by bill of exchange. You have more money on your person than you have ever had at one time in your life. A man sits down beside you. He is old, with a stained gray beard and a patched brown cloak. He has a wooden bowl in his lap with 3 or 4 pennies in it. He does not ask you for anything. He simply sits. After a while, he says, "First time in London." It is not a question. You say yes. He nods as if he has heard this many times. "You can always tell," he says. You walk like the buildings might fall on you. You laugh. It is the first time you have laughed all day. "Where are you sleeping tonight?" he asks. You have a name. The Tabard in Southwark. Your master told you to go there because the landlord knows him, and the ale is good, and the bed is clean. You say the name aloud. The Tabard. The old man smiles. He has almost no teeth. "Good choice," he says. The pilgrims stay there, on their way to Canterbury. You will eat well tonight. You will hear stories. You reach into your purse. You put a silver penny into his bowl. He looks at it. He looks at you. "That is too much," he says. You say, "I had a good day." He takes the penny. He closes his hand around it. "God keep you, friend from the West." You stand up. You walk east, back toward the river, back toward the bridge. The sun is beginning to slide down toward the rooftops. Your shadow stretches long behind you on the cobbles. You are going to cross London Bridge. You approach the bridge by way of Fish Street Hill. The lane slopes down toward the river, and the gatehouse of the bridge rises at its foot. a squat, square tower of grey stone, with the arms of the City of London carved above its arch. You try not to look up at the pikes above the gate. You succeed for about 3 steps. Then you look. There are warnings there, mounted on iron spikes, the kind of warnings medieval cities make of men who have betrayed them. Crows sit on 2 of them. Nobody beside you is looking. You pass under the gate, and you are on London Bridge. It does not feel like a bridge. It feels like a street. A narrow street, only 12 feet wide between the houses, crowded with people on foot and carts creaking past and pack horses loaded with sacks of grain. The shops on either side have their shutters open, and the shopkeepers call to you as you pass. Belts, fine belts, English leather. Combs of bone and boxwood, 3d each. Pins, pins, pins. You stop at a gap between 2 houses. It is only a narrow gap, a space perhaps 2 feet wide, where a man has set up a small stall selling pilgrim badges, tin brooches shaped like St. Thomas. Behind his stall, through the gap, you can see the river. You step to the edge. The Thames is below you, silver-brown in the late afternoon light. Boats are passing beneath the bridge, dark shapes on the bright water. From above, the starlings that protect the piers look like great wooden islands, stained green with weed at the waterline. Between the piers, the water rushes through in white chutes, faster than any river you have ever seen. The pilgrim badge seller sees you looking. The tide's going out, he says. It's worse in an hour. You can drown a dozen men in those chutes between one breath and the next. He says this cheerfully. You buy a pilgrim badge from him. Tin, cheap, a small flat image of Thomas Becket with his mitre and his crozier. You pin it to your cloak. You do not know why. Perhaps because you are crossing over to Southwark. Perhaps because the old man in the churchyard said pilgrims stay at the Tabard. Perhaps because you want something to remember today. You walk on across the bridge. The southern gatehouse is smaller. No warnings above it. You pass under it, and you are in Southwark. Southwark is not London. This is the first thing you notice. The air smells different. The tanneries are very close here, and there is a steady acid note to everything, the smell of hides being stripped and cured. The buildings are lower. The streets are wider and dirtier. The people move differently, more loosely, with less hurry. This is where London goes to do the things it cannot do at home. You pass a bear baiting pit on your left, closed now, the bear sleeping in a cage at the back. You pass a row of houses painted white, the famous stews of Southwark, the licensed brothels, regulated by the Bishop of Winchester himself, who takes a cut of their profits. A woman leans out of an upstairs window as you pass. She has red-dyed hair and a yellow kerchief. She looks at you without interest and goes back inside. You walk down the high street. The inns begin, each one larger than the last. The White Hart, the George, the Queen's Head. Their signs swing on iron brackets above the road. Through their open gates you see cobbled courtyards, galleries running around at first floor level, grooms washing down horses, pilgrims unloading packs. You smell ale, stew, fresh bread, wood smoke. Your stomach reminds you that you have not eaten since the boat. And then, halfway down the high street, you see the sign you have been walking toward. A knight's tabard, painted red and blue, hanging above a wide-arched gateway. Beneath it, in plain black letters, the word Tabard. You stop. You take a breath. You walk under the arch. The courtyard of the Tabard is already busy with the beginnings of evening. A company of perhaps 20 pilgrims is forming in the yard, preparing to leave at dawn for Canterbury. You can tell they are pilgrims by the badges on their hats. Scallop shells, Thomas crosses, crude tin images. They are an odd company. A stout red-faced wife with a broad hat, arguing with a man in threadbare scholar's robes. A knight in traveling leather, his squire at his shoulder. A miller with a wart on his nose and a bagpipe under his arm. A plump prioress in a fine wimple, feeding scraps of cake to a small white dog. A pardoner with thin yellow hair. A friar, laughing too loudly. You do not know their names. You never will. You will remember them. A servant with a clean apron approaches you. A bed, good sir. Supper, yes. You say yes to both. You give your name. You mention your master in Bristol. The servant's face brightens. The landlord will want to greet you personally, he says. Come in. You step through the door of the Tabard into the long main room. It is warm. That is the first thing. A great fire at the far end, even in summer. The ceiling is low and beamed black with smoke. The walls are whitewashed and hung with pewter plates that catch the firelight. Long trestle tables run the length of the room, and on them are already being set out loaves of bread, wooden bowls, leather jugs of ale. The landlord comes forward. He is a big man, taller than you, with a huge pale face and eyes that have judged 1,000 travelers at a glance. He takes your hand in both of his. from Bristol," he says. "Welcome, welcome. You will eat with the pilgrims tonight. You will like them. They are a merry company. His name, you will later learn, is Harry Bailey. You wash your hands and face in a basin in the corner of the courtyard. The water is cold. The servant hands you a rough linen towel. You dry yourself. You take your place at the long table. The food comes. A thick pottage of peas and bacon and onion, served in a wooden bowl with a great chunk of bread on the side. The bread is your spoon and plate both, and you will eat it last, soaked in the broth. A platter of roasted chicken, cut in quarters, dressed with a sauce of verjuice and mustard. A dish of eels stewed in ale and pepper. Small hard cheeses. Apples. Walnuts. And ale. Great jugs of ale, brown and foaming, the strong ale of Southwark, which is stronger than anything they brew in Bristol. You eat slowly. You are hungrier than you knew. Around you the pilgrims talk. The miller is telling a joke you cannot quite hear, but the red-faced wife is laughing so hard she is crying into her ale. The knight is listening politely, a slight smile in his beard. The prioress is feeding her dog under the table in defiance of her own order. The pardoner is singing in a high, thin voice, and someone has thrown a piece of bread at him. Beside you sits a man you have not noticed before. Middle-aged, quiet, with clever dark eyes, dressed plainly in dark blue. He is eating slowly and watching everyone. He has a small book on the bench beside him, bound in brown leather. He sees you looking at the book. "A notebook," he says. "I like to remember people." You ask him, "What do you do?" He smiles. "Comptroller of the wool custom," he says. "For the port of London. I count the sacks as they come in from Bristol and go out to Flanders. And sometimes," he adds, "I write." You ask him, "What do you write?" He looks at you for a long moment. Then he looks around the table at the company of pilgrims. And he looks back at you and he says, "Tonight I think I am writing about them." You do not understand. You will not understand for many years, when a poem begins to circulate in manuscript through the merchant cities of England, a poem about a company of pilgrims at an inn in Southwark in 1390. And you will sit by your own fire one evening, an old man, and you will remember a quiet middle-aged comptroller with a notebook, and you will say aloud to yourself, "I sat at that table. I ate that supper. I was there." But that is for later. Tonight, you reach for the ale. After supper, you do not go straight to bed. You cannot. The day has been too much. You walk out of the Tabard into the summer dusk and you turn north, back toward the river, back toward the bridge. The sky above Southwark is the color of dark honey. The last light is caught in the highest windows of London across the water. St. Paul's spire is a black silhouette against it, the golden weathercock still visible. One by one, the lamps are being lit along the bridge, small yellow points, and across the city, the windows of the merchants' houses are beginning to glow. You walk to the waterline. The tide is low. The mud of the foreshore is exposed, black and glistening. Mudlarks are down there, small children with bare feet, picking through the shingle for coal, for scraps of metal, for anything the river has given up today. Their voices are thin and high in the evening air. A waterman's wherry passes close to the bank, 2 lamps burning at its prow, taking late passengers upriver toward Westminster. You hear the splash of the oars. You hear the boatman singing under his breath, a song about a girl in Deptford. The smell of the Thames at low tide is the smell you could not name this morning. You have a word for it now. It is the smell of a great city breathing, the effluent of 200 trades, the discharge of 100 lanes, the tides of 10,000 kitchens. It should be foul. And it is. But it is also somehow alive in a way Bristol's river never was. It is the smell of a city that does not sleep. A church bell rings for Compline. Then another. And then the rolling tide of all London's bells again, softer now, an evening tide of sound. You stand in the dusk and you listen. You have been here one day. You have belonged to this place for one afternoon. And already you know that something has changed in you that will not change back. The road home to Bristol will not feel the same in the morning. Bristol itself will not feel the same. You have seen a city. You have seen the city. You turn back toward the Tabard. The Tabard's courtyard is lit by torches now. 4 of them, set in iron brackets on the gallery posts. The light is orange and unsteady. It makes the stones of the yard look wet. The horses have been led to the stables. The pack harness hangs on wooden pegs along the wall. A boy is sweeping the last of the day's straw into a corner. From inside the inn, you can hear the pilgrims still at their ale. The miller's bagpipes are playing now, badly. Someone is trying to sing along and cannot remember the words. A burst of laughter, louder than the music. You climb the gallery stairs. The wood creaks under your boots. The landlord's wife has shown you your bed, a narrow pallet in a long upstairs room where 4 other men will sleep tonight. one is already there, snoring. His boots are on the floor. A candle is burning on a low stool. You sit on the edge of your bed. You untie your cloak. You feel the weight of the pilgrim badge from the bridge. You unpin it and set it on the stool beside your candle. The tin figure of Thomas looks up at the beamed ceiling. You take off your boots. You set them beside the bed, the way your mother taught you when you were small. Neat, together, ready to be stepped into. You untie the purse from your belt and put it under the straw pillow. You feel the shape of the silver through the linen. You lie down. The pallet is firmer than your bed at home. Straw smells faintly of lavender. The landlady has put something in the mattress to keep out fleas. Through the small high window, you can see a square of dark blue sky and, just visible, one star. The bagpipes stop. Someone shouts goodnight. Someone else shouts it back. The door closes. And another. Far away, across the river, a single bell rings once. The city of London begins, very slowly, to go to sleep. You are not quite asleep. You are in the soft place before sleep, where the day repeats itself behind your closed eyes. The river widening at Gravesend. The spire of St. Paul's rising out of the smoke. The white water boiling at the piers of London Bridge. The red and black tiles of the Mercer's Hall. The old man in the churchyard with his wooden bowl. The pilgrim badge of tin. The choir in the cathedral you could not see. The comptroller with his notebook. The ale. The dusk. The smell of the river at low tide. One by one, the moments of the day are laid down like pages in a book. You will keep this book all your life. You do not know that yet. But there will be winter evenings, 40 years from now, when you will turn its pages in your mind, and you will find the day perfectly preserved. The colors, the smells, the exact weight of the silver in your purse, the exact pattern of the tiles in the Mercer's Hall. Some days are like that. The person does not have many of them. The candle on the stool gutters and goes out. In the absolute darkness that follows, you can hear the sounds of the sleeping inn. The horse shifting in the stables. A man turning over in his bed. The faint creak of the gallery settling in the cool of the night. And then, from across the river, from one of the 100 steeples of the city you crossed today, a single bell rings. One stroke, clear and cool, for the turn of the night. You smile in the dark. London, you think. And you sleep,